And welcome back to Building Apps for Windows Phone 8.1 Jumpstart. I'm Matthias Shapiro. I get to cover this session, and this session is actually one of my favorites. We're going to cover Tiles, Notification, and Action Center. There is an enormous amount of information to go over, and to my excitement, we're looking at a lot of information that is almost everything in here is going to be Windows Phone universal, from our notifications to our tile, pushing our tiles out and launching our tiles in Toast. This is a really hugely converged story on Windows and Windows Phone. So let's get started because we need to go fast because there's a lot in here. We're going to cover tiles and notifications. How do tiles enhance the Windows experience? This is a little bit of information, just so you know. Tiles are really important, and we're going to tell you why. We're going to go over the tile template examples. There's a lot of them. We're not going to cover every single one, but we're going to cover some of the terminology that we use with tile templates and where to get more information about them. Then we're going to look at sending notifications. How do we send notifications locally? How do we send notifications through a push notification service? And then we're going to look at managing our notifications with the Action Center. The Action Center is new to Windows Phone 8.1. And in addition to being just a fantastic experience for our users, we've also created, it also has an API, which makes it a fantastic experience for developers. So getting started with tiles and badges for Windows, and I say Windows, when I say Windows, I mean Windows and Windows Phone. This is a converged platform fully. So first of all, what are tiles good for? Tiles are the defining Windows experience. We've got tiles across all of our screens. They are the initial interaction point for applications, and they really do drive user engagement. You want your tile pinned up on the start screen. You want the user to see it first thing on their Windows machine, on their Windows Phone machine. And not only the tile, you want to have a live tile, because the live tile brings the latest information. It drives user engagement. It really brings your application to be alive even when it's not running. And as such, it's an essential piece of the Windows brand. So if you're going to integrate your application into the Windows brand, you really need to be thinking very seriously about tiles. This is a quote that we've used when it comes to design. The quote was, the alternative to good design is not no design. You can't have an application with no design. It's either going to be good or bad. And it's the same thing with a tile. You can't have an application without a tile. So give your tile some thought. Make sure it's a good tile, because you can't have no tile. A little bit of information about users and their tiles. We've done some analysis of our top applications and how users rate them and what users use them for. And believe it or not, the full functionality tiles are the #1 driver in high app ratings on Windows Phone. And this full functionality basically means that you've got a tile that's live, and it can be used as a small tile, a medium tile, or a wide tile on Windows Phone. That is the #1 feature that makes users happy. And interestingly, another one of the following close behind, I think #2 or #3, highly sought after feature for Windows Phone users is a secondary tile. And that's a tile that pulls the user into some sort of a deep link inside the application or specialty case inside the application. Users want their tiles to take them to exactly the information they want. And so you can do that with secondary tiles, and they really love it. Okay, so we got a lot of tile types. And the tiles are cross-platform. With Windows 8.1, we have small tile types, medium tile types, wide tiles, and then the giant, big, huge tiles. This is the only part, that big, huge tile is the only part that isn't cross-platform. All the other tiles are cross-platform. And one thing that I'm going to call out, and we're going to see repeatedly as we go through this session, is that you see the Windows 8 tile types, and you can see that they're a little bit different visually than the Windows Phone tile templates. Well, these are the same templates. It's just that Windows Phone is rendering them in a way that just perfectly fits the Windows Phone style. You can look at all of these cross-platform tile templates. They're available at aka.ms/tile templates. So as you go through that list, you're going to see a lot of tile terminology in here. I want to call a little bit of that out so you can understand what they're talking about. The first piece of tile terminology is peak. A peak is a peak tile means that there's a second part of this tile, and it's going to be animated in. So you can see an animation on Windows, and then it's actually going to flip from front to back on phone. Block means a large number text, and so that's going to be the 3 here and there, or the 24 is the block. It's rendered differently on Windows than it is on Windows Phone. It's meant to be defined, give the best presentation on a tablet versus a phone. So then we've got image collections, and this is literally just a list of images that you're pointing your tile to. Yeah, and I guess that's all of the tile terminology. As you can see, again, rendered differently on Windows and Windows Phone. It's been designed specifically for the form factor that it's being displayed on. So if you're building your first tile template, you're going to go to your appx.manifest, where you can set up a primary tile in your visual assets section. This is going to be the tile when the user presses and holds your application in the app list, and it comes over and it gets pinned to the start screen. This is what your where your tile is going to be defined. You can give it a default size, you can give it a background color, and you can just give it the logo that it needs. The tile sizes are what you see here. The one that's a little bit confusing is the square one, which is 71 by 71 for Windows Phone, I believe, and then 70 by 70 for Windows. The square one is 150 by 150 across both platforms. Wide is 310 by 150 across both platforms. And then large, available only on Windows, is 310 by 310. So the way we create or update a tile is with a tile object, a tile XML object. And it looks a little something like this. You've got a tile, and inside the tile it has one visual, and that defines multiple bindings. And the bindings are for all the tile types that exist, that your application creates. And so there might be a medium tile type and a wide tile type and a huge tile type, and those are gonna be 3 different bindings inside of this visual. Now you can define that huge tile type in Windows Phone. You can take this whole XML, you can send it to Windows Phone and to your Windows application. The Windows Phone will just ignore anything it can't use. We also have these badge XML, and the badge is, I thought I had an example here. No, we'll get to that in a second. The badge XML is just like the tile XML. It's got a badge, you've got a value, and yeah, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. So tile XML schema defined a little more clearly in this table. Like I said before, you've got your tile, you've got your visual. The binding defines a single tile template, and then inside of that you're going to have texts, which gives you the different text elements inside of your tile, and image, which defines the different image sizes or image elements in your tile. Your images should match the size and shape image requirements of the template. That's just one thing you should do for a good user experience. So if you're creating a tile inside of your application, here's how you do it. You create an XML document, you load the XML that you saw previously into it, and then you create a tile notification with that XML document. Then you can use your tile update manager and create a tile updater and just update your tile using that tile updater and the tile notification that you've created. So let's look at a demo on creating those tiles locally. Okay, this is a universal application, as you can see here. We've got the Windows 8.1 version, we've got the Windows version, and we actually have the code to set our tiles is all inside of this tile setter, which is in our shared project. So this is purely cross-platform right here. Go ahead and run this. I'll go ahead and run it on the device. Open it up. Nope. There we go. And here it comes. Okay, we're going to create a medium-sized image, and I'm just going to draw a big smiley face. That's our medium image. We create a wide image. This is a horrible smiley face. Okay, and then we'll just say jump start. We're done. We can hit update tile. Oh, and I completely forgot to pin that tile to the front, so let's go ahead and do that now. Nope. Hold on, sorry. I gotta figure out
what its name is.
Yeah, I must have named it something other than that. So let's see here. I'm gonna stop this and find out what I have named this. Local tile demo. Of course I did. Of course I named it something different than.
It's a danger of running it on a real device.
Right. Pin to start. There we go. Okay, and we can actually see. I'll move.
You need to get that up.
There we go.
Yeah.
We can actually see. Oh, come on. This is just. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. Okay, there it is. So we got our tile, and we can change it, and we're actually going to have to run it again because, okay, we're just going to do squiggles this time. Jump start, flying through it, update that tile. And now if we go back, we should see that tile update. Am I missing? I must be missing a piece of code. Okay, so that doesn't work, so let's find out why. Sorry. Okay. So we've got our tile rendering, and if you're interested in how to render a piece of XAML to a tile, that's going to be that's all in here. Yeah, and that's the piece we're missing right there. Is I actually have code to go in here. So I'm going to call that tile setter that I have in my shared project. Dot create tile. We're going to give it my medium image path and my wide image path, which I've created when I rendered that XAML out. And then we're going to take the title text.text. Okay. And we'll jump into our tile setter and we'll look at exactly how it does that. It creates that XML document. It takes the local path for the medium tile image, and it takes the tile text, and it creates that first binding, that medium binding. Then it takes the local path for the wide tile image and the tile text, and puts that inside the wide binding, and then it loads all that XML up. And then we need to add our tile notification. New tile notification, tile XML. There it is. We'll do our tile updater. Update equals tile update manager dot create tile updater for application. You can see that we use this updater. We're going to enable notification queue to false, and I'll talk about why we do that in just a second. And then we update our tile with a new tile. Okay, now we're going to run it again with all the code in place, and it's amazing how much better that works. Okay, squiggles, and more squiggles, and text. Okay, there we go. Update our tile, back to the home screen, and you see we've got the tile updated.
Woohoo!
And you see we've got a medium-sized tile and a large tile. and we can't change the small tile this way. It's just a static image. So that works, and I was hoping to have enough time to show it on Windows, but in the interest of getting all of this information out, you're just going to have to trust me. It works. It's cross-platform. We're actually using, as you saw in the shared, we're using the exact same code to send out all of our tiles. So, okay. The rest of this will go smoothly. You can use the notification extensions. At the moment, I believe these notification extensions are, this is basically just a simple helper class that gives you all of that textual, the XML information in an easy to use way.
Yeah, it saves you having to work with raw XML.
Right, yeah. Which can be a bit cumbersome.
Yeah.
At the moment, I believe it is Windows 8. It's open source, I think. You can go grab it and turn it into Windows 8.1, but I know they're also working on making sure that it comes out for Windows Phone 8.1. Okay, notifications. Notifications are the way that our application is sort of always on. We can always be sending new information to the user through the start screen, through the tiles, through Toast notifications, and then, as we mentioned previously, through raw notifications that are waking up a background task. So there are lots of ways to display notifications. We have tile notifications, badge notifications, Toast notifications, and raw notifications. The tiles we've already talked about. The badge has a little black logo up in the top right corner for Windows Phone. Toast is just like a text message coming in, and then the raw notifications, we can handle any of these in a background task, but the raw is the most valuable for a background task because we can just send an arbitrary string and just do some stuff with that string.
Yeah, it's cool.
So for Toast notifications, we need to make sure we've enabled our Toast notification in the manifest. Otherwise, we can't send them.
Oh, if I had £1 for every time I'd forgotten to do that.
Right.
Or $1, whatever. You get.
And then we can send our Toast notifications using this Toast XML. And so you see the whole XML schema is how we send all of our notifications. Then the user taps on the Toast notification to launch the application. In Windows, we have a lot of different kind of Toast notifications, and in Windows Phone, we do not.
We have one.
We have one. You have this type of Toast notification. You could actually take some of the Toast notification options that they have in Windows, and they're still usable in Windows Phone. It's just going to render the exact same way. Whereas you have options in Windows, you don't have them in Phone. So there's lots of ways to send tile notifications. You can set a scheduled notification for tile or for Toast, and just basically say, okay, at this time I want you to update the tile. At this time I want you to update the Toast. You can update update notifications periodically, and this is usually for a tile. You just pull from a URL. Maybe it's an RSS feed that's just RSSing a bunch of XML for your tile notification. Just pull from it every half hour, every hour, 6 hours, 12 hours a day. This is really great for information where you don't want to build this big complex backend that's always sending push notifications, but you want your application to be updated with some frequency. You can do local notifications, so you can update within the application, either the foreground or the background. And then you can use push notifications using WNS push services. And we're going to dig into that one big time. Scheduled notifications run this way. We have our application. And our application, inside of our application, we use the scheduled notification API. And once we use it, it goes to the system schedule queue. And the system is checking that schedule queue, checking that schedule queue, checking that schedule queue. And when it sees a notification that has been scheduled, it'll send an update to the tile or send an update to the Toast. Using that looks like this, where we just use the scheduled Toast or scheduled tile notification API. We give it that XML doc that we've been showing up on the I've been showing up on the screen, and then we give it a time when we want it to update. Send that to our notification manager, and we just add it to the schedule. Now, a point of note for this is this is not going to work in a super granular manner, and so you can't use this to do something like a minute-by-minute alarm. It's going to the system pulls all these schedules together, and it hits that queue in a way that makes sense for the resources of the application. Maybe you're running low on battery and you have really poor signal. I guess signal wouldn't matter, but you're running low on battery, and so it's going to hit that schedule. It's going to decrease the frequency with which it hits that schedule queue. Periodic updates are going to work a little bit like this, where our application goes to the Windows System Services and says, hey, I want a periodic update every half hour, 6 hours, 12 hours, at the increments you saw before. And then it will go to the tile and badge updater APIs, and it's going to hit that process with a certain amount of frequency, send that, and then go to an HTTP request looking for an XML payload that it can then render into the badge and updater APIs. And then it'll pull from that service and update our tile accordingly. We can also do periodic updates the easy way, which is the codeless way. And for that, we open our package.app manifest. And there's a little drop down where we say, I want it to update every 6 hours. And I want it to go to this tile RSS feed. And then we don't have to run any code, and it just runs, it works, and it's going to use that RSS feed and tag it every 6 hours looking for new tile information. We also have local updates. We can do tiles and badges using the local updates. Tiles, badges, and toasts, I believe, using the local updates. That's the code that it looks like, and we just go and grab our badge update manager, our toast update manager, our tile update manager, create a badge updater for the application, just like you saw in the demo, and it just goes and immediately makes that update. There are some limitations on which kinds of updates we can use for which kinds of notifications. And you can see that here in this table. Tiles, we can use scheduled, toast, periodic, or push. Badge, we can only use local and push, or local, periodic, and push. Toast, we can use everything except periodic because we don't want you sending a toast notification every half hour. That's just not a great user experience.
Why not? Yeah.
Right.
Annoying.
I dream of a world where I have 100 applications sending me a toast notification every 30 minutes. And then the raw notification only comes in through push.
Oh, you could use that to pretend you have loads of friends.
Right. It's the lonely application.
Yeah. You see, you invented already.
Now, you saw that I turned off notification queuing in the demo, and here's what notification queuing is. Our tiles can cycle these notifications. That's up to 5 notifications in a queue. And so if you just add these tile notifications one after the other into the queue, and that means your tile can convey an enormous amount of information. It can convey up to 5 different fully templatable tiles, and maybe these tiles even flip from front to back. And so the tile can then become, with the queue, a real window into the information inside of the application. You can, once you have that queue in place, you can replace tiles in the queue or set expiration for tiles. So in the case of the football scores that Andy was showing, maybe you're going to show those football scores up on your tile. But you say, I know this game ends at a particular time, which with football I don't know how that works because I'm American. But you say, I know this is going to end at a particular time. So after that time, drop all the scores off of the queue and only show the end result. That's the only thing they're going to care about. So push notifications. This is particularly exciting because in the world of Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8, we had 2 different push services. We had the WNS service and the Microsoft Push service, MPS, I believe, MPNS service.
MPNS.
And now we do not. You can still use the MPNS service. It's actually just a shim around the WNS service, so it actually works a lot better than it used to.
I'm talking about that in the last session.
Okay.
The Silverlight session. We're
Perfect.
talking about MPNS versus WNS.
Okay, so the last session, which is tomorrow.
Session 23 tomorrow.
Just wait for that. We'll cover that. What you need to know right now is that all of our Windows devices are on the WNS service. And so that's one service across all Windows devices, one process to register an application for push, one tile template that you can push to Windows or Windows Phone applications. So I know everybody's been waiting for the architecture diagram, and here it is. Our Windows Phone, we've got our Windows Phone application and our Windows Notification Client Platform. Our Windows Phone application will communicate to the client platform and get a channel URI for that application. It's going to register that channel URI with our cloud service. And then our cloud service, when time comes, is going to send that push notification to the Windows Push Notification Service, which is going to communicate to the Windows Notification Client Platform, which is going to update our tiles or badges or whatever accordingly. Setting up an application for push is really, really simple. You right-click on your phone application, you go down to Store, you associate that app with the package store, and then there's a wizard that's going to walk you through the rest of it. You do need a store.
Actually, it's the same thing you saw in my Azure Mobile Services.
Exactly.
Where it pops up.
Exactly the same process.
Asks you for your my developer account.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so you do need a developer account in order to associate your application with the store, but you don't even need to go to the service. You can do this all inside of Visual Studio. And then you simply associate your application with a name that you have reserved, or you can reserve a new name right inside the wizard. And then you click the Associate button, and all the associations are made, and you're ready to go. That store association is going to be stored in this package.storeassociation.xml file, and that's where you can go to get some of that information. So here's the code for getting that channel URI, which you're actually going to see in the next demo. It's really simple. We just do an await for our push notification channel manager create push notification channel for application async. And then we can save that notification. This is just a sample method for saving that notification to our own personal service. Then we can listen for when we've got a push notification, and this is how we would listen for that notification inside of the foreground of our application. Okay. So sending push notifications, there's a sample project for sending push notifications. And that's at pushtestserver.azurewebsites.net/WNS. We'll see that again.
And anybody can use this?
And anybody can use this. I actually have a link to the code, so you can download the code for this service and use it later on. Or you can use the Azure Notification Hub, which Andy mentioned in the previous session. This is for cross-device notification. It's a really powerful system. Highly recommend you go check it out. But what we're going to do in the demo is use this notification simulation engine. And this is an incredibly powerful engine that we have built into our emulator tools. And we're going to pull it up and kind of show you how to use it right now. Okay, so I'm going to open up my push notifications application. Oh no. And close the other one. We're going to run this one in our emulator. We have our 512 emulator open, so let's make sure we've got that set appropriately. And I am actually you're going to see me pull up my demo script because I am going to be using a lot of different notification types, and I want to make sure that I have those in place. So a little peek behind the scenes here. This is also a universal application. And what you see, we're in our push handling helper. So this is actually, right here. This is where we're going to get that URI association as soon as we run our application. We'll take a look at it. Okay, so we're going to get our push channel, and it's waiting for that push channel. Oh, this is probably another one of those ones where I thought it would be a great idea to do some code live. So, if I'm not mistaken,
yes.
Yep, here we are.
Certainly.
Push notification channel helper. No. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pull up my demo script here. Okay, we're just gonna push channel click. Okay. Okay, so we'll try that again. Okay, now we get the push channel, and it actually gets the push channel. We can walk through this.
So
it's
now
waiting, waiting to get that channel. Okay, now we've got it. And we can send it to that text. And there's our push notification channel.
It's actually really long, isn't it?
It is a really long
URI,
string.
yeah.
So we want to simulate these push notifications, so we're going to turn simulation on. And we're going to refresh the application, and I think I might actually need to reinstall the application in order to get this, in order for the enabler to see it.
Yeah.
So uninstall. Yep. Well, we know that works, so we're just going to take it off. Run the application again. Get our push channel again. You see it worked a lot quicker this time. If we hit refresh, okay, now we've got our app ID, we've got a URI, we've got a notification tile in here. We got everything we need to start making, to start sending those test notifications.
And let's be clear, in Windows Phone 8 days, you had to you had to write a custom service in order to test this.
Yeah.
Write your back end in order to test how the client reacted.
Yeah, testing was not the happiest thing in the world in Windows for push notifications. It's gotten a lot better. So we're going to change our template to the tile square peak image and text one. That one there, and it gives us some sample that we can use.
That old favorite.
Right. And I'm going to paste into here, and you see I've actually got a little push image that I'm using. So before we send this, let's make sure that we have this pinned to the start. I really should have named this AAAA tile push sim. Okay. So that's what our tile looks like right now.
Awesome.
But if we send this tile notification, push it to the device,
yay!
Then we've got the push works for our medium-sized image. Now let's send a toast notification. Yes, I want to overwrite. I'm going to send this toast notification that we have here. It says, tap on me, I'm a cute birdie. Right there, we'll send the toast notification out. And there it is, and if I tap on it, it takes me into the application. You can actually see that I've been saving all of my tile information as it comes in. Now this is only working because I'm debugging, right? So the application has not actually has not suspended, and I'm still all of my methods are still running. And we can take another look at a badge notification. And the badge is nice and easy. We can have a number in there. And we see our badge show up. There we go, right there.
Only on the front of the tile, not the back.
Right. And we can actually use some of these. Well, we'll get into this right after this demo. But the badge has a number or any number of these sort of messages that work across platform. Not all of them work on Windows Phone, but we'll look at that.
We only had numbers in Windows Phone 8.
Right, in Windows Phone 8 we only had numbers, and if you need to get rid of a badge, you send another badge with the value of 0.
Yeah.
And that'll get rid of the badge on your application. So this is a really powerful tool for testing your notifications. I don't know. I thought it had some slides around badge notifications and toast notifications. And I don't know where those are, and I'm a little horrified at myself right now. Okay. Well,
take the knife to them.
Right. I must have cut that in the interest of time.
Yeah.
But that's okay because with the time left, we can spend that looking at Action Center, which is really
just as exciting.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
So, the Action Center user experience. This was a hugely important request from our users. And so we've implemented it in Windows Phone 8.1. For the Action Center, you can send up to 20 notifications, store that in the Action Center per application. and those notifications will be persistent for 7 days or possibly shorter if you start running out of room. Or the users can chase a notification by tapping on it, and that's going to remove it from the Action Center. It'll open up the application. You can remove a group of notifications, or you can remove all of the notifications. This is available on Windows only. We do not have an Action Center on Windows Phone. Windows Phone only. We don't have a notification center on Windows yet. But in addition to that great user experience, we also have a great set of APIs that developers can use to manage the Action Center experience for their users. Developers can remove one-to-many notifications. They can tag and group these notifications, and using these tags and groups, we can replace notifications. With a new notification, we can delete notifications. We can set expirations on those notifications, and we can even send these ghost toast notifications. And so, the sort of classic example for this is, in Facebook, you want to know when somebody maybe tags you in a photo, but you don't necessarily want to know when somebody is when there's a giant group chat with 50 people and they're all saying okay. So you can send the unimportant notifications as ghost toast notifications. They'll show up in the Action Center, but they won't show up as an actual toast on the system. So it's a way of kind of streamlining the notification experience that your users have to become slightly less annoying. We can use tags and groups for replacing notifications. A matching tag and group is going to trigger that replacement. So the scenario there is you've got an hourly stock price. Your price, you make sure that the replacement notification has the same tag and the same group, and it will update. You can do that. You can use those tags using. You can set those tags and groups using these notification properties here. The setting an expiration. A scenario here is maybe there's a limited time price on an item or some sort of time sensitive information. You can set an expiration date on those notifications, and when it hits the expiration date, it'll automatically take out a notification center. You can remove those notifications. The scenario here is maybe there's a sold out deal and it's just not relevant anymore. But let's take a look at how we do this inside of a demo. Okay, stop our last application, and we're going to run our Action Center. Now this is going to be particularly interesting because we're going to use that service I was talking about earlier, the Azure service for testing notifications, and we're using this one instead of the emulator one because this is
So I guess you have to turn that one off in the.
That's right. No, actually, I was going to run this on the device. That way, I don't have this.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, if you do run a word of note, if you try to run and test your for real notifications, you got to make sure that your emulator notifications are turned off. Otherwise, they're gonna conflict. So I'm gonna pull up my demo notes on one side, and okay, here's my live device. Okay, let's get this started. So we've got our actions there. We're going to get our push channel URL. And you see, just like we had before, I'll run that. And then when we populate the Action Center, what we're basically doing is just grabbing a bunch of data, using that data to create a pile of toasts that we're then going to put into our Action Center. So if I populate the Action Center here, you see hopefully that there's a little icon up at the top. Now if I pull the Action Center down, we have a group of notifications, and I can chase those notifications. It takes me back to my application. Normally I would do something like that, and you see that one went away. or I can make them all go away by swiping to the side. So let's populate that Action Center once again and watch and show how we can do these sorts of updates. First thing we need to do is I'm actually going to get a new, I forgot to save my channel URL. So go back up here, we get our push, and we're going to copy that channel URL value and paste it here at the top. Get rid of our quotes. Okay, and now we have everything in place to start sending out these sort of live.
So this is kind of the web version of the tooling you got in the emulator.
It is. It's a little bit more flexible,
right?
With options for toast delete, ghost toast,
okay,
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the first thing we're going to look at is replacing a tile. We're going to take a look at the tiles that we have in place, or the notifications we have in place.
Replacing a toast, yeah.
Yeah, replacing a toast. Populate that Action Center again so I can show some of this stuff off. Okay, so what did we put in here? The first one is this toast is but a breath, a mere moment, and it is gone. And this one is a toast where we have used that that expiration API. So eventually this is going to go away. I think I have it set to 1 or 2 minutes. One interesting note is that it doesn't go away live. I have to close the Action Center and open back up in order to notice that it's gone. But you see, breaking news, kittens have full control in Action Center. Well, that's not right. Kittens do not have full control in Action Center. Developers have full control in the Action Center. And so in order to replace that with the correct information, we're going to send this updated toast, and we're going to add select the group breaking news and the tag correct me, because that's the tagging group that notification is set as. We're going to send a ghost toast because we don't want the user to know that we made a mistake. We want to kind of slide it there under the radar. We send this push, and you see,
yeah.
It's updated live. It's pushed it to the top of the notification queue. Everything is good. So that's a simple replacement. We can update one of our notifications, and so if you can see in here, this is a stock application. Microsoft is at 100, Apple's at 3, Google's at 1, and we think Google's been doing a lot better recently. So we're going to bump Google up 400% to 4. Okay, there we go. We're going to do this as a normal toast, and we're going to use we use the stocks group and the Google tag. We send that push. Oh, nope. I see what happened there. We selected toast, and it gave us the boilerplate instead of the toast that I had actually. Okay, so we'll try it again. There we go.
Yeah.
And we've got that that notification has been updated. And we can delete notifications. We're actually going to delete a whole group of notifications. We want all those stock notifications to go away. So we can go to toast delete. We're going to delete just the group called stocks. We go back to our application. We send that push. We see all of our stock notifications have gone away. And so the only thing we have left to demo is to show how the expiration that we sent on that last toast goes away. And if we make our Action Center go away, pull it back down, we see.
You refreshed it.
Yep, we've now refreshed.
Expiration doesn't happen while you're watching it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's how we can interact with the Action Center. It's a really powerful set of APIs for interacting with the Action Center. And if you want to use that push tester that you saw right here, here is the URL again, pushtester.azurewebsites.net/WNS. And you can also get the source code. You can get source code for a client sample of this application, or you can get the source code as an Azure sample of this application. You can try to write this down. I'm going to leave it up here for just a little bit, or you can search for WNS notifications for Windows Phone on the code.msdn.microsoft.com, the code samples we have up there. That'll also show it. So that is it. Go forth and notify. Send those notifications. Build those tiles. Build those incredible notification-driven applications. And reminder before we go, we're going to take a meal break. It's going to be about 30 minutes, and then we're going to make up some of our lost time with what's coming up next, Andy?
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth LE and NFC, cool stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And then some contacts cameras. Then some camera, enterprise. We've still got loads of great stuff.
There's a lot of stuff coming up after lunch, but we'll see you then, or after meal.